This is the Panasonic G7. In this video, I'll walk you through the main features of this camera. By the end of this clip, you'll have a clear understanding of what the G7 has to offer. Let's start with the key features. This is a mirrorless camera. It was released by Panasonic in 2015. Quite old, but as you will see, it comes with some nice specs. It has a 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor, it can do 4K video recording at up to 30 frames per second, and its ISO values go from ISO 100 all the way to ISO 25600. It comes with a 3-inch fully articulating touchscreen and a nice electronic viewfinder that shows a clear image. It can do 350 shots before the battery runs out and can shoot at up to 8 photos per second with the mechanical shutter. When it comes to size, I will call this a small to medium-sized mirrorless camera having a width of 12.5 centimeters. It's also quite light, weighing just 410 grams with the battery included. Let's now go into the specifics. So, it has a CMOS sensor with a crop factor of 2x, so it's 2 times smaller than a full-frame sensor. The camera doesn't have a built-in ND filter and no in-body image stabilization. When you're capturing stills, it can shoot in JPEG and also RAW. The aspect ratios that you can choose are 4:3, 3:2, 16:9, and you can also capture square-shaped photos with the 1:1 ratio. The G7 has 3 special features like 4K photo mode, panorama, and post-focus mode. Using the mechanical shutter, it can do 8 photos per second with autofocus single and 6 photos per second with continuous autofocus. With the electronic shutter, it can capture at a whopping 40 frames per second in full resolution. Speaking about shutters, the camera has, of course, a mechanical shutter and also a quiet electronic shutter. Shutter speeds with the first one range from 1/4000th of a second to 60 seconds. In bulb mode, the maximum exposure time can be 2 minutes. Using the electronic shutter, it goes from 1/16,000th of a second to 1 second. ISO sensitivity has a range from 200 to 25,600. Now, video recording is available in MP4 and AVC HD format. Recording in 4K, whether you're shooting at 24 or 30 frames per second, will bring a small 1.1x crop. If you choose the smaller resolutions, the format or frames per second that you choose won't matter, there will be no crop. The G7 does have an HDMI port which allows extracting full HD footage. If you're thinking about the length of your videos, the camera does have a recording limit of 30 minutes, after which you'll have to press the record button again. The built-in microphone records in stereo, and good news, the G7 does have an external microphone port that captures sound in stereo. Other good news for video shooters, the camera also has the focus peaking option. The 3-inch fully articulating screen is touch sensitive and very responsive. The electronic viewfinder is also good because with a 2360K dot resolution, it shows a clear image. When it comes to lenses, there are over 120 lenses with the micro four thirds mount that are compatible with this camera, giving you a lot of options to choose from. The camera has 49 focusing points and it uses contrast detection with Panasonic's DFD technology. The modes that you can use is autofocus single, flexible, continuous, and manual focus. And yes, the camera does have face detection and focus peaking. And when it comes to connectivity, the G7 has a single card slot that accepts SD cards. As I told you earlier, it has a micro HDMI port, a microphone port, but you can also plug a mini USB and also use a remote controller. It doesn't have GPS, but you do get Wi-Fi on this camera. Of course, there's also an app available that you can use on both Android and iOS. The G7 comes with a built-in flash and a hot shoe. The maximum sync speed of the flash is 1/160th of a second. When it comes to the environmental factors, it can operate at temperatures from 0 to 40 degrees Celsius at a humidity from 10 to 80%. The camera doesn't have weather sealing. If you want to see more detailed specs about this camera, there's a link in the description from Panasonic's official website. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. And I want to ask you, what is your opinion about this camera? Leave a comment below and see you on the next one.